Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Backlog Banter. This is episode something. Who knows? I don't know.
21
Sure,
or
that
2
sounds similar
or
to what
20
it
or
could be.
19.
Yeah, but I'm Tucker Hazel, and that is Abram Buter, and today we're going to be here to talk about video games. We skipped last week. We had a little bit of problems with scheduling. We're still trying to figure things out, but we're back. And we've got an interesting topic today to cap off this episode after we discuss what video games we've been playing. But if you want to talk to us about the video games that you've been playing, or talk to us about the games that we've been playing, or just talk to us in general, join the Discord. The link is in the description, as always, and we'd love to see you there. Abram, what games have you been playing past weeks?
Now, Tucker, we haven't recorded in now 2 weeks, but believe
Yes.
it or not, I only still have about 4 games to touch on,
Okay.
and I'm only going to be poking on a couple of them very, very, very lightly.
Okay.
I've been running into this issue recently where by the time I get done with schoolwork and work and working out, and I'm about to play a game, I'm just tired, and I've been finding it hard to really just stick with something more complex. So
Sure.
I've tried a couple games that are a little bit too ambitious for where I am right now, but I'd like to get back to when things quiet down a little bit. And the first one, Tucker, is Earthbound.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I have been talking long about the fact that my one character flaw is that I've never played Earthbound.
Well, I think it was F-Zero GX before that.
Yeah. I mean, so two character flaws, took care of one of them. Not took care of the other. Haven't beaten any of the games yet, so maybe I'm still the same person I was.
Yeah.
But now I've played about, I'd say, 5 hours of Earthbound. And I like this game a lot. I think I would really love it if I wasn't playing on 3DS and I wasn't
Sure.
playing in these little periods of time I have throughout my day,
Yeah.
Because the success of Earthbound, I feel, is its world and getting swept up in it, and its excellent music and its great writing and everything. But it's hard to connect to those things just in my current situation, right? So I find myself really drawn in by the characters, by everything going on in the game. Really, I don't know if I have many issues with Earthbound.
Sure.
It feels a little bit trial and error heavy, or a little bit
Okay.
esoteric in some respects. The ways that
Oh
bosses will
well, it
pop
is
up.
Earthbound.
It is Earthbound, yes. So things will pop up, and you don't always feel prepared. And I feel like the few times I have consulted the guide, I have missed so much stuff that I just have
Sure.
no idea of otherwise. So I feel like it's definitely a product of its time, but it also feels timeless in the sense that it's so separated from all of these JRPG tropes and everything. It really is unique, and I can only imagine how fresh it felt back when it released,
Yeah.
considering how fresh it feels now. So I certainly will be getting back to Earthbound, but those are my thoughts so far.
Yeah, I mean Earthbound is a game that I don't have a lot of draw to go to. I'm getting more into the turn-based classical RPGs as time goes on, as I age like a fine wine.
Yes.
Uh, but Earthbound, just what I've heard about it is that it has really strong opening, but it just gets grindy as hell in the later half of the
Yeah.
game, and I'm not sure how into that concept I am. But it is certainly very unique, and I think esoteric kind of applies to everything about the game. So it being obtuse in some areas, kind of fits that tone. But I would like to
Sure.
stop for a second and highlight the fact that my Flash shirt has a hole in it.
I'm glad you highlighted that because I thought this video needed more sex appeal, and you already provided like a base level, but that hole in the shirt really does something
Yeah,
extra, I
I
think.
just noticed it.
Yeah.
Maybe people in class. Wow, it's so bright. Look, it's glowing. It's radiating. But so you're selling yourself a little short with those 4 games you have to talk about today, because that is 400% more games than I have to talk about. Because I've only played Dark Souls the past 2 weeks, past 3. Actually, I
All
think it's
right.
probably been a month since I've played any other video game or close to it.
Okay.
Because there's just so much to do in Dark Souls, and it's so engrossing that, and if you talk to anyone who's really into Dark Souls or the From Software games series, quote unquote, what you'll be told is, if you're as soon as you start playing Dark Souls or one of those games, you lose interest in other games because they all just pale in comparison, in terms of design, in terms of lore, in terms of combat and everything. And I don't know what I'm gonna do myself when I beat Dark Souls. I mean, I'll go play Dark Souls 3. I'll go play Sekiro. I'll go play Demon Souls. I'll go play Dark Souls 2. But I have such low interest in literally anything else
Sure.
at the moment, that it's interesting. But I am probably about 1.5 areas away from the end of the game, and not including DLC, which I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to tackle yet. But I have one Lord Soul from Seath the Scaleless in the Duke's Archives to retrieve, and then I'll go beat the shit out of Gwyn, Lord of Cinder, and that'll be that. And I'll have Dark Souls under my belt.
So what is that like 40 hours or high,
Well,
low?
yeah,
Okay.
I think that's about right.
Sure.
I'll have to tally up all the time codes that I've put on my backlog, but I do want to know how much time I put into it. But yeah, it's just been every day I put in some more time, and that's really all I can think about because all my
So
other free time is just watching Dark Souls videos or talking to my friends about Dark Souls.
so Bloodborne against Dark Souls, how are you feeling about that?
I think Bloodborne is the superior game from
Okay.
quite a few respects, but
Not surprisingly.
I'm saving my thoughts on the game for once I've fully completed it and been
Sure.
able to sit with it for a while.
And I'll be curious to see if those thoughts then change again when you play Dark Souls 3, considering that released a lot closer in proximity to Bloodborne.
Yes, after Bloodborne.
Oh, right. I guess, what was it, 2016? Dark Souls 3 came out?
Yes,
Something like that?
and 2015 was Bloodborne. 2014 was Dark Souls 2. They cranked those motherfuckers out.
I have never played, well, I played Sekiro a little bit, not super substantially, but I have been inundated with Souls games. Between you and my roommate,
Sure,
they're just I can't escape them.
Yeah.
He's
Good.
I think he's gone through at least Dark Souls 3 and Dark Souls Remastered in the time that we've been at school. And he's on Sekiro right now.
Yeah. I think he plays a little more games than I do because I've had a hard time just playing games at all the last few weeks, and I think that's also partially why I've not played anything outside of Dark Souls. But
Sure.
Yeah, he certainly seems like a grinder of a gamer.
He's a marathon type of guy, which I can't get behind, but I can appreciate from a distance, you know. Especially when the weekend rolls around, we're hitting like 7-8 hours of Sekiro. I'm like, I just simply couldn't. I don't have the mental or physical fortitude for that kind of
Unless it's
gamer
Halo.
energy. But unless it's Halo, sure.
Or
speaking of, if you want to move on to that one.
Now here's the question.
Yeah.
I think instead of talking about the game that you're going to talk about, we discuss our plan for it.
I feel like we should talk about this more off camera first and hammer it out. So audience, just know that something is in the works and it might involve Pokemon. It might involve playing a lot of Pokemon games and reviewing them.
It will involve Pokemon. There's not a might there. That's the one. That's the one set in stone.
Yes.
At the moment, yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, we're both big Pokemon fans and we want to do some in-depth Pokemon videos here on the channel. We have already done several, which are some of our best videos, I think. So we're gonna double down on that. But so after the Pokemon Presents, I was back in the Pokemon mood, right? And I want to play a little Pokemon. And of the games I have available to me right now, I have Crystal on 3DS Virtual Console, and
which I had previously owned.
And I had played a pretty solid amount of Soul Silver when I was younger.
Sure.
And a little bit of Gold or Silver here or there, but I'd never really delved into OG Gen 2. And as of right now, I'm about 12 hours into Crystal. I have 7 badges. I'm trucking towards
that's in under 3 days.
That's in under 3 days. One day I played like 7 hours of the game.
Yeah.
Which was the various extenuating circumstances led to me having a lot of time to basically sit and do nothing.
Instead of working on backlog banter, you know, getting things done.
Well, playing Pokemon Crystal. And Pokemon Crystal is a really enjoyable game, but a lot of that comes from the fact that I just really love Pokemon, and it's Crystal's a fun challenge.
Sure.
Because a lot of this game is really strange. There's a lot of strange growing pains that you feel here, especially when you're looking back onto it. Move pools are staggeringly small. The diversity in Pokemon you can find is not great.
Yeah.
It feels like move accuracy is just through the fucking floor, especially for status moves. There'll be turns where I'll be trying to use Flash because, by the way, my best Pokemon right now is a Jumpluff with Flash, Sleep Powder, Leech Seed. That's really the trifecta. because the level curve is always all over the fucking place. So I don't grind. I just go for it and use the
Sure.
strength of my street knowledge to get through. When I played a lot of Pokemon, so you got the jump fluff in there. You make it happen, right? But so
So
as
my grandpappy always told me that.
always. And as I'm playing, I'm just encountering these things that were just so clearly ironed out as the series went along.
Yeah.
I'm not even just talking about quality of life things from the Game Boy, like, oh, the menus are a little bit clunky, or using the PC box is a little bit clunky. I'm talking about like, oh, Pokemon Company realized that maybe your Pokemon should learn moves by level up. Maybe I shouldn't be using Mud Slap on my Sandslash after the 7th gym still, when he didn't even learn that organically. He never learned a ground type move, things like that. So it's fun and it's different. And it's forcing me to play a little bit differently and a little bit smarter and use more dynamic strategies. But part of that is just to respond to a difficulty curve and an information, I don't even know what I'm trying, like the way that levels
Putting words
and
out
moves,
there.
yeah, the way that everything is just put out doesn't feel fleshed out yet. It didn't feel like Pokemon
Sure.
Company really was in that polish until it shines and keeps shining. They weren't into that if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of deal yet, right? And so you can feel that, and you can feel where the series improved, but it doesn't change the fact that Crystal's still a lot of fun. There's still a lot of heart in these games, heart and gold, if you will. But it's really great being in the Johto region, and unlike you, I like the Johto region, especially when you're playing Crystal. I think the size and scope of the region helps a lot, and there's some fun locations to explore. There's some fun story beats. The writing is kind of quirky and weird. I forgot what old Pokemon writing was like, and it's just a lot of fun. The music,
Sure.
of course, is excellent.
Yeah.
The sprite work is excellent. So a lot of my issues are just quirks that the series has ironed out. But on the whole, I'm really, really enjoying playing through the game.
Cool. I have purchased it. It's on my 3DS back there.
Yeah.
And so I'll be pushing through that probably after I beat Dark Souls, which will be today or tomorrow. I do want to just finish that up.
It'll be interesting. I'll be really interested to hear your thoughts on OG Gen 2, because you have famously said you're not huge into Pokemon battles. And there's a lot of battling you do. Some of the more dungeon areas, especially if you're going after Team Rocket, are battle after battle after battle of 3 coughings, a Zubat, a Raticate, a Wheezing, so.
Whoa, are you seriously? I can't believe a Team Rocket member would use those Pokemon.
I know it, and they'll use them quite often.
Well, Pokemon Crystal, pretty cool, but actually I lied to you. I lied to your face.
Okay.
I actually did play another game in the past 2 weeks. I didn't play very much of it.
Sure.
But I bought ACA Neo Geo Puzzle Bobble for $1.25.
Good.
On
I'm glad you
Nintendo
did.
Switch, because I was like, oh, what the fuck is Puzzle Bobble again? Oh yeah, it's one of those little, you tilt the deal, you shoot the bubble, and if it hits 2 of the same kind, then they pop.
So Puzzle Bobble is just Bubble Bobble?
No.
Or
Bubble Bobble, you control the dinosaurs, you go around.
Oh, that's the dinosaurs one.
Yeah. No, but Bob and Bob are sitting at the bottom controlling the little deal that you twist. But yeah, it's certainly the basis for basically half the mobile games that exist.
Sure.
It's fine. It's fun. It's an arcade game. It's certainly worth $1.25. But as I've been getting more and more into puzzle games of the year, I really loved Yoshi. I really loved Dr. Mario. I like Tetris. I like what's the one I'm forgetting? Oh, Picross. Yeah, I've heard of that one. But I really just wanted to give an older arcade one a try. And it was, for some reason, the only ACA Neo Geo game on sale. Usually they go on sale in like bunches, but they're just like, no, let's just give them this one. So I got it for $1.50. And it's fun. It's got one song. And
what more would you want?
Well, there might be other songs that I haven't found yet, but and it's formatted around an arcade game. So if you lose, you type in a little 3-letter name. But yeah, it's a fine game. I'm probably gonna play it a little more, but it's really nothing remarkable considering how far that specific genre of shooting a bubble and it hitting things up at the top and popping. That genre has expanded quite significantly since the late 80s or whenever this came out.
Yeah.
But yeah, Puzzle Bobble.
I mean, speaking of arcade-like titles, so let's kick it up a little bit to, I believe, 2013 with Housemarque's Resogun, which I played recently. I played it for a series of converging factors with Housemarque's Returnal coming up, which I am excited for. I wanted to have a little bit of experience with their games prior, because I have prior to Resogun had never played a Housemarque game, and Resogun is their marquee title. So I was already interested to check it out, but I wanted to play, spoilers for the last game I'm going to talk about, Horizon Zero Dawn. And PlayStation was like, hey, fucko, you could buy it for $20, or you could subscribe to PS Now and play the game that way and have access to all these other games. So I did that. And PS2 and PS4 titles you can download on PS Now, which I think PS Now is really misunderstood, which is really Sony's fault.
Sure.
But it has actually a pretty rich library of games to choose from, and in there was Resogun. So I downloaded it, I played it, I played through the entire thing. I mean, it's an arcade title, so that takes an hour, right?
Sure.
But it's all about replayability and score chasing.
So it's formatted around being a arcade game, though?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's Housemarque's bread and butter.
Had not heard of that. Heard about that.
Essentially, for people who don't know it, it's a shmup. It's got some bullet hell elements, and essentially you're in these basically like cone-shaped arenas where you're going around them in a circle like this. And you're saving humans, you're defeating alien ships. It's a shmup, pretty much. It's sort of like circular format is its most unique aspect, but on the whole, it's just a really, really refined action gameplay.
Yeah.
And the arcade format, for those who really like that in the sort of 2D shmup style, are really going to enjoy Resogun. I think it's an enjoyable game for my tastes. It wasn't a whole lot more than the recognition of, okay, Housemarque made a really great game here, but I don't know if it has its hooks in me. It has a voxel based art style. I'm not crazy on voxels. They don't look great to me.
Sure.
That's a subjective thing, but they just don't do a whole lot with their aesthetic. Same goes with the music, which is solid, but I would have liked to see the music interface with gameplay a little bit more as you're shooting down ships and getting combos. If that fed into the soundtrack a little bit more, I think it'd be a more empowering experience. But on the whole, the ways you can use your ship's different power-ups to clear the screen and sort of the spectacle that comes from that is really satisfying. And the way you play the game basically entirely on the sticks and the bumpers and triggers is pretty organic too, and it's a fun experience. It's tight. I had to play on one of the lower difficulties because the game does get hard. Clearly, we're gonna return to it. We're gonna work on it. We're gonna get that pixel perfect accuracy. I assume people who are like nuts at Resogun are insane to watch. I'm not one of those people.
Yeah.
But it scales down to even dumb boy levels like me, and it's still fun and enjoyable. But it's just not my style of game. I think I'll check out a couple more of Housemarque's titles, which are also on PS Now, I believe, to get a little bit more of a footing before Returnal, which is a little bit more my speed. Third-person shooter, sci-fi elements, a little bit more of a narrative. Just more there for me to latch onto. But for what Resogun is, I think it's pretty good.
Sure. No, I don't have any comments on it myself. I've never tried PS Now. I think we were planning on doing an episode around sort of subscription services last week, but then we didn't record. So maybe we'll bring that concept back in a later episode, because I really like to hear your larger thoughts on PS Now and subscription services as a whole. God, that's a fucking tongue twister. But Horizon Zero Dawn, I don't know how long you want to talk about this, but I think it's pretty interesting that you just randomly started getting into it.
Yeah, so I was just kind of looking ahead to what PlayStation has for 2021. Allegedly, now that we didn't see Horizon Forbidden West and State of Play, I'm a little bit more hesitant.
Sure.
But supposedly that game is going to come out in the first half, and I'm assuming the fall if it comes out this year.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be ready for it. And I had played Horizon Zero Dawn very briefly when it launched. I don't know why I bought it on launch, because if people remember, it came out on a Tuesday, and the Switch and Breath of the Wild launched on that Friday. And so I had three nights with Horizon Zero Dawn, in which I was in high school doing schoolwork. So maybe I played 2 hours of the game. It's like, this is boring. It's bad. It's not Breath of the Wild. I'm done with it. And I sold my copy, and I didn't really pay it too much mind. And then with Forbidden West on the horizon, I wanted to give it a proper chance. Yes. Because people love the game. heralded as one of PS4's best exclusives, and so I wanted to play it and I wanted to understand it. And it's another one where I just don't think now is the right time for me to be trying to get into an action RPG, right?
Sure. How
But the
much did
game
you
is,
play of it over the past few years?
I'd say maybe 5 or 6 hours.
Okay.
But the game is great.
Mm-hmm.
It really is a great game. It has some frustrating issues. I think a lot of them stem from the fact that Guerrilla was new to this style of game, this genre,
Sure.
coming off of basically making essentially shooters with Killzone, not a whole lot else. So there's some growing pains. Traversal doesn't feel great. It looks like Aloy should be able to grab onto ledges that she can't. Sometimes you have to do the happy Skyrim hop up hills to try to traverse. There are rough edges here for sure. And playing a game that has so much of the same DNA as Breath of the Wild, but doesn't have the freedom that game has, is disappointing. The world feels a little bit static. It feels a little bit not. It doesn't feel organic in the same way in terms of interaction, but otherwise, the game is really special. I think that the world that Guerrilla created is really interesting in terms of the lore, in terms of you're walking through these incredible, like lush natural areas that have overrun human civilization, and then there's these big fucking robotic dinosaurs walking around with you. It's incredibly interesting, and it sets up some really great set piece moments, like climbing up a tall neck, having to platform off of the ruins of an old human civilization to jump up on this big like giraffe type robot. It's really great. I think that the combat against the dinos is really fun too. Aloy has a vast arsenal that you can upgrade pretty quickly and start to add new things to, and the skill points and perks feed into that really nicely. And the narrative is pretty compelling too. It has some of the worst lip syncing I've ever seen in the game. But that's because Guerrilla basically made like an algorithm to do the lips for all of the non like in cutscene dialogue exchanges.
Just
and
the
a lot of
generic discussions about NPCs.
Yeah. And I mean, they look bad and they take out the experience, but it doesn't change the fact that the narrative is compelling and I just want to be in this world and it's fun. It's a fun game. Someone in our Discord was saying, link in the description, that it is an archetypical, open world action game.
Yeah.
And it definitely is. And the Sony first party has moved beyond this. I think that Ghost of Tsushima really ate this game's lunch in a lot of ways in terms of not cluttering the fucking UI, not cluttering the map and everything. There's a lot of ways that game feels more elegant than this. This definitely feels a lot more Ubisoft than some other open world titles. But I'm having fun with it. I do want to get back to it. I hope that Guerrilla learns from this game and changes things both on a more systemic level, but also little things like there should be a way to turn off motion blur because the motion blur is fucking ridiculous in this game. For the first 45 minutes, I literally thought I wasn't going to be able to play it. I was like, I just might not be able to play this game. So there's little things and then bigger things that they need to address, and that comes with experience. But I'm digging the game.
Well, what I think is interesting about the fact that we have a Horizon sequel on the Horizon, pun totally intended, is that this is the sequel that's coming out after Breath of the Wild. They have now learned from Breath of the Wild. They have taken inspiration probably in some ways from Ghost of Tsushima, from the new modern Assassin's Creed games, all of these open world games that have sort of started taking inspiration from Breath of the Wild and become a little more interactive, things like that. I think this game, and when I think about open world games in general, I know that they fall into heavy archetypes, but if there is that one thing that really can connect me to a game, and I've only played probably about 10 hours of Horizon Zero Dawn, long time ago. But I think the fact that there is such an interesting concept in the robotic dinosaurs and the years later, or millennium later, human civilization, I think that's really interesting. I think the setting traps and riding the creatures and stuff like that is all really interesting. And I really do think that with those core concepts, experience with open world as a developer and taking inspiration from other more modern open world RPGs, Horizon Forbidden West could actually be really fantastic. So I have high hopes for that game.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, the first game was so successful, selling over 10 million copies.
Sure.
Obviously, this is going to be a priority for Sony to get right.
Hmm.
Um, and so I expected that the game was going to be something truly special, you
Is
know?
this one's also coming out on PS4 though, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, which is a little
Which
bit worrisome.
I think what that communicates probably is it's not going to be the full step forward we might
Yeah.
have hoped that it was.
Yes.
Um, but again, we're gonna have to wait and see because
We
we
don't know.
know
We got a
fucking nothing
cinematic
about this
trailer.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
But
we'll see.
I think that takes us to the topic of this week's episode.
Ta
No,
ta
don't do it. Don't do it.
toe toe toe
Don't
toe
do it.
toe.
Don't do it. But it is as of tomorrow. We're recording this on March 2nd, and the day this should be uploaded, I'll edit it tomorrow or tonight or whatever. The 4-year anniversary of that Nintendo Switch. I wish I had my Switch to prop comedy. It wouldn't have been funny, so it would have just been prop, would not been prop comedy. But we just want to talk a little bit about our experiences with the Switch on its 4-year anniversary.
Yeah, it's first of all, it's bizarre that it's turning 4.
Yeah, it
I
doesn't
mean,
feel like it, honestly.
no, that's
Switch
such
still
a
feels new, which was weird to me.
the Switch feels simultaneously new and old.
Mhm.
I feel like it's just becoming a familiar device now,
For sure. Which is how time works.
which is how time works, especially when your console's 4 years old. But what I want to travel back to March of 2017. I actually want to travel a little bit further back to Christmas of 2016,
Okay.
where I got from my dad a very cool gift. He gave me like this little tube, and I didn't know what it was in. I thought maybe it was a poster or something, but in there was
Dildo.
I wish. Instead, there was a picture of a Switch he had printed out that said, "This is good for a Switch at launch,"
Sure.
which was so exciting because I'd never had a console at launch before, and
Yeah.
I've been telling him about the Switch, and it's like, look, I can't wait. I'm gonna save up money. I'm gonna buy it over the summer. And I was never even thinking like, oh, maybe if I save enough, he'll buy it for me. I was really like, okay, this is my plan. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it summer 2017. I'm gonna have so much fun with it. And he totally surprised me, and that was such a fun thing. A little bit hard getting the pre-order. I managed to get one.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got it from GameStop.com.
Oh, interesting.
And they arrived, it shipped, got there right on launch day. I was told by my parents that I was becoming annoying as I was literally pacing around my house back and forth waiting for the UPS truck to arrive. But I got my Switch. I got Breath of the Wild at launch, of course, and then I also got Fast RMX was the other game I bought day one.
That game's just gone with the wind.
Which is too bad because it's a great game.
Yeah, but I mean, it got the boost of some popularity at launch because it was one of the 20 games at launch.
Not even that many.
Yeah, maybe I'm overestimating.
Maybe like 12 or less.
Yeah, maybe 12 sounds about right. But yeah, no, that's one of the most forgotten launch titles. Alongside, I would say Skylanders Imaginators.
I was gonna say Trap Force. So
Trap Force.
You remember even better than I do. Trap Force came out even before that. That's like a Wii era game. There's also Trap Team and Swap Force.
The all Skylanders games.
My aunt played a lot of Skylanders, so I by extension played a lot of Skylanders. But that was my launch day, and then I got it on that Friday, and I left to visit my grandparents in Florida on that Sunday. Mm-hmm. So I really got the whole Switch experience right off of the gate. I got to play it on my TV that night, and then a couple days later, I took it with me and got to play a lot of Breath of the Wild in the airport. I got to actually do the fucking Switch commercial type of stuff.
Yeah, you did.
I immediately loved the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
It was so special actually getting it at launch and then actually playing with it. I loved it.
So it's interesting to think about. In my mind, I think of you as this guy who just has had every console possible for all the years of his life.
Yeah.
Because you just have things that I don't know that you have. Like you've got a whole litany of just things.
Yes.
But I, as well as you, this was the first console I got at launch. I would say the closest to launch I had ever gotten a console before this. Well, maybe the Wii, but my parents got that. That was a long time ago. I barely remember. But might have been the Wii U, which was as after Mewtwo came out. So that was
So not close to launch at
it
all.
was like 3 years or something. I got a 360 after the Xbox One came out.
Sure.
I got a PS4 well after my Switch. Like I'm on a weird cycle of getting consoles. But Switch also first console I got at launch, and I got it minute zero. I was in their Best Buy waiting line. Me and my friend pull up. We sit in the line. They hand us out the tickets. Okay, you want a colored one or a gray one? Colored one, gray one. Everyone going on the line. Me, I'll take the red and blue one. Last red and blue ticket. I got the last colored Switch from that Best Buy, and I'm so happy because I definitely prefer that over the gray Joy-Con. Did you get gray or colored at launch?
I got gray just because that's all I could get, and I wasn't very picky.
Of course, so. Very reasonable, very reasonable. My friend right behind me in the line was pissed at me, but that's fine. I don't think he's thought about that in years. And I remember sitting there in the cold. We're playing Pokemon on our 3DSs. We're like, this is the last time we're gonna be touching these things. But we pull up. They're handing out the stuff in the lines. I get Breath of the Wild. I get a carrying case. I get Bomberman R. I get a code for snipper clips, and I get some amiibo for my brother. I can't remember which one it was. And I roll out of there, and me and my friend, his dad's driving us home. We're setting up our Switches in the back of the car. We can't really see what's going on because it's fucking 1 a.m. at that point. I get home, and I don't think I slept that night because I just played Breath of the Wild. And after that, it was just Switch at school. All the time, every time. And I'm like, holy shit, you got the new Zelda. Holy shit. Oh, we're playing snipper clips at lunch where we're doing large groups of Bomberman R. I'm just constantly playing Breath of the Wild. And it was really fantastic. I think that's probably some of the most special video game experiences I've ever had. People like jealous of me for having the new Zelda game. I talked to a girl because she was like, holy shit, you got the new Zelda. I really want that. That girl ended up becoming one of my best friend's girlfriends later on. He was too afraid to talk to her at that point in time. So I was steps ahead of him. If he had just gotten a Switch at launch, they would have already been together. But yeah, no, I mean, and essentially you and I also met through the launch of the Switch. Because our group chat on Instagram, which is how we met years ago, was created because it was people who wanted the Switch. I think almost around that time. It was probably January or December of 2016. Yeah, I don't know. I can talk about all the games that I got after that. There's just so much to talk about with especially the launch year of the Switch that it's fun. Good memories. Good fucking memories. Got a smile on my face.
I mean, we are often critical of Nintendo, especially recently, right? But that doesn't change the fact that the Switch is one of my favorite systems of all time, and it has so many memories wrapped up in it, whether that's getting up at 4 a.m. to start playing Odyssey, watching the Game Awards, waiting for Smash to unlock, playing 1-2 Switch with my family when I was visiting my grandparents at launch. I mean,
I've done the same thing. I played 1-2 Switch with my grandma. That was that was weird.
There's so many memories to look back on and isolate, and I think we should do a larger discussion about those at some point. But the Switch really is a remarkable success for so many reasons. And for as frustrating as a lot of its recent events have been, it doesn't change the fact that when you look back at all the games we've gotten so far and what we are going to get eventually at some point, whether it's this year or next year or the year after, or by the time ends, Nintendo's output has really been something special. It's saved the company. Reggie was like, this system was going to be make or break for us, and they're tracking to sell over 100 million of these.
Oh yeah,
it's just really remarkable.
I think for me also it's a very special memory series and experience of my first time really following game console rumors, announcement trailers, following all of the stuff pre-launch, watching that announcement trailer with the guy and his dog and the airport and all of that in my social studies class as soon as it dropped, and just sitting in the back just like, whoa, this is crazy. And just showing that to my friends in every class. I would walk in the class, dude, have you seen this? Have you seen this? Pull it up on my phone. I've got it scrubbed to the right place. Holy shit, you can play Skyrim on the go, guys. Look at this. And just theorizing about the games and what was coming, and then getting that 2017 January 2017 press conference with all those trailers and the reveal of Splatoon 2 and Odyssey and ARMS and 1-2 Switch and just a litany of things, and then getting at the end, it's coming out in 2 months. And and losing my fucking mind, because I just sit there and I'm like sitting at lunch with my friends like, I'm gonna have this in 2 months. I'm gonna be able to play on this, and just being like proud to exist in that moment. I don't know. It was a really interesting time for me as a video game fan, because I really felt like I was in on ground zero. And that was the first time that had happened to me before. I was so used to catching up on things, to having consoles years late, not knowing about. I didn't know about Smash 4 when it was initially announced. I found out about it 2 months from release, and then I got really into the hype cycle.
Sure.
But the Switch is kind of, in some ways, even though obviously it wasn't my first video game console, it's probably this console I'm gonna have the most nostalgia for when I'm older, because it was so many firsts for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a console that got me into.
It took our virginity. Continue. Sorry.
It's a console that got me into games journalism. It's I used to write little blog entries on my Instagram page, but for the Switch's launch, I made an actual blog, and to talk about the Switch, and started writing weekly. And from there, I worked for Gaming Trend and then Nintendad, and now CBR, and all that happened really because I was so excited about the Switch and so excited to be able to talk to people with this new system, and so it's very special from that perspective too. I'll be really excited in a couple of years, to have a discussion about this entire run of time,
Sure.
And it's so crazy to think about. That endpoint's going to come. It's probably not going to come for a couple of years because Nintendo is going to ride this into the ground, as they should. As they should. But we're at the halfway mark.
Yeah.
And we got a lot coming, and that's exciting. Looking at where we've been and knowing that there's still more to come.
Mm-hmm. It's just interesting to think about how, since we've started this channel and started really considering being part of games journalism, things like that, we've just been disappointed by Nintendo. In a cycle of, okay, well, maybe next time, maybe the next thing will be the real reveal of the stuff. Maybe it'll be next year that the litany of games that we know are coming or hope are coming will come out. But then thinking back to launch, and I would say the first year and a half being probably the best first year and a half of a video game console. I mean, maybe not success-wise in terms of versus the NES or something like that, but just in terms of games output, in terms of everyone being happy with it, in terms of being something so unique for the video game industry. And then just as soon as you hit sort of mid 2018, it's like, oh, well, there's some game. There's definitely some games. Nintendo Switch has games.
We just didn't know how good we had it in 2017.
Yeah,
we just didn't know. I'll never forget distinctly writing a piece about how 2017 was a pretty good year, but Nintendo can do better. And people were shitting on me, and I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Of course. It's like, if you think 2017, I was like, wait till 2018 happens. And wait till 2019. And 2019 actually was pretty great for the Switch.
Yeah, no, 2019, if we were to rank the years, it's easily 2017, 19, 18, 20.
Yes.
I think that's a pretty clear ranking.
That's almost subjective.
even in 2019, that's Fire Emblem, that's Luigi's Mansion, that's Sword and Shield, that's
Mario Maker 2.
Mario Maker, yeah, Link's Awakening.
So many games.
Yeah.
Daemon X Machina.
Astral Chain? Yeah.
Yeah, Astral Chain.
Yeah. But I think that just about concludes us reminiscing about the Nintendo Switch's 4th anniversary and our initial experiences with it. Because this is something I spent a lot of time thinking about, because I like reminiscing on things, and I'm glad we got to have it on video, so we can come back and rewatch this 5 years from now and be like, oh, weren't we cute?
I mean, we're cute now.
Oh, we certainly are. We certainly are. And we will be in 5 years. We're going to be even sexier. Trust me.
I think you'll be chiseled in 5 years.
What the fuck did you just say?
Because you're 20 now. When you're 25, you're going to be chiseled. That's my prediction.
Chiseled. I thought you said shit old.
No.
I'm like, what the fuck does that mean?
You already age in a strange way. So who knows? Maybe by 25, you look like you're 48. Who knows? But I think we've outstayed our welcome.
Oh, as usual. Although this is probably one of our shorter episodes.
Yes. Well, everybody,
God, you're so bad at outros. Thank you for watching. Join the Discord, like the video, subscribe, and hopefully see more content. See you on more content.
Talk to you later, gamers. Yeah?
Fisticuffs, oh yeah, baby.
We'll settle it in arms.